Okay, so I'm really excited on this haunted tour, haunted Holly Springs tour. Apparently we're going to get to go inside Graceland Too. Graceland Too is a place where a guy named Paul McLeod, very kind of a eccentric Elvis fanatic to say the least, ran this place where you could come in for 25 years, you could pay $5 to come and see his collection of Elvis memorabilia. Anytime, again, 365 days a year. Well, unfortunately, in 2013, he met an untimely demise, and that's where we are right now.
Okay, well, guys, welcome to our next stop. And anyone know where we are? Some of you locals surely do.
Holly Springs.
Okay, so we'll tell the story for those who don't know. Now, this was originally the Riot House, built in 1854, but everyone in town, everyone regionally knows this more as Graceland Too, because in the 1980s, a man named Paul McLeod moved here. Now, Paul McLeod is widely considered, at least by himself, to be the #1 Elvis Presley fan in the world. Anyway, he loved Elvis Presley so much that when he opened this house, it wasn't just good enough that he put all of his Elvis Presley belongings in here. He didn't just want to show people his things. He wanted everyone to know about Elvis Presley. So what did he do? He opened his house to the public, calling it Graceland Too, and that's T-O-O, Graceland Too. Open the house. If you paid $5, you could come inside, do a good tour, meet Paul McLeod, see his stuff, wear the jacket, and get your picture and all that. Most of you probably don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe some of you do remember. If you don't, I do recommend strongly when you get home tonight or tomorrow, go to YouTube, search Graceland Too, Paul McLeod, and just enjoy some of the stuff you'll watch. Paul McLeod was what we call a character. He was a really interesting person, pretty friendly, just a really interesting man. Had his secrets, had his darkness and all that. But he was a good guy. I didn't know him until the very end, which we'll talk about. But anyway, he was just a very interesting person. Most people didn't come here for Elvis Presley. They came here to see Paul, to interact with Paul. He was just that strange of a man. But again, go to YouTube and find out. That's not why we're here. This is not an Elvis Presley tour. We're here to talk about what happened at the very end. Now again, over the years, many hundreds, thousands, probably tens of thousands of people visited here. In fact, if you lived in this area when he was active, you remember busloads of people coming here and coming in and stopping. I mean, it was just tons of people. All that came to an end in 2013 when one night a man came here and knocked on the door. Paul opened the door. The man said that Paul owed him money, so he wanted the money. Paul said, "Not right now, I'm sorry, I don't have any money. Come back another time." That man did not take no for an answer, so he kicked the door in, walked inside. Paul at that point he felt like his life was threatened, so what did he do? He took his gun out, shot the man right in the chest, killing him instantly. That man died right inside here. So you can already tell where the story's going. Lots already have one murder. Now what happens next, it gets even stranger. Of course, Paul needed to talk to an attorney real bad, so he called the best defense attorney in town. Well, actually, Steve Farese was busy that day, apparently. So he called Philip Connett, which is me. At the time, I was a private criminal defense attorney. He called me. He told me what happened. The coroner had just come by and picked up the body. I said, "Okay, I'm coming over." Came over. I talked to Paul. He let me inside. Already news vans and media and everyone was coming by, and I said, "Paul, it's time to sit down and really come up with, first of all, defense. First of all, let me know what happened." And can you believe what Paul said to me? He asked, "Have you ever done my tour?" And I said, "No, I have not. I don't see why that's relevant." He said, "Well, I can't talk to you until you've done the tour." So, literally blood still on the floor, and police outside, media outside. He gives me a tour of Graceland Too. The whole time I'm thinking this is the most bizarre thing that's ever happened to me, but we'll go with it. Believe it or not, it gets even crazier because I'm very glad that I got that tour. I was the last person to ever get the Graceland Too tour. Thank you very much. Because some of you might know this, part 2 days later, they came by to talk to Paul, and what did they find? Paul McLeod was dead right here where I'm standing in his favorite chair. They say he died of natural causes, a heart attack. I've always found that hard to believe, to be honest, but I don't have any way of proving it otherwise. But That is the official story, that he died of a heart attack 2 days after killing the man. And that was that. Graceland Too shut down. Paul McLeod left the building, and that was that. Of course, that's not that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Ever since that day, and maybe even before, Graceland Too is arguably considered probably the most haunted house in town now. There are other houses like Featherston, there's Linden Hill that have been on the Travel Channel and all that, but Graceland Too, especially from my experience, is just a tremendous amount of energy.
So bad news. We are not going inside Graceland 2 today. Here's my friend Chaz. Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
We are not going in Graceland 2 today. However, I'm going to put some links, or I think I'm gonna splice some footage of when I went in here a few years ago, if you don't mind, because I think that's really cool. Again, this is Paul McLeod's front doorstep here, and apparently, unfortunately, this is where he passed, right here on this front doorstep. And I believe that was in 2013. He got in an altercation with a gentleman and unfortunately shot and killed him. And then, after he was cleared, less than 36 hours later, he was actually found dead right here on this front porch. So, unfortunately, I can't show you today in 2023 what the inside of this place looks like. Graceland 2 forever. But I will show you some older footage, and I hope you enjoy that. So, here we are, Graceland 2.
My wife grew up with two boys. She's the same way. She's the same way. So everyone, welcome to Graceland Too. Who has been here before? This house is originally built in 1851. It is an antebellum home known as the Bryant House. It was owned by the Bryant family for many years. Of course, we don't call it the Bryant House anymore because someone very infamous lived here for a good amount of time. In the mid-1980s, a gentleman named Paul McLeod moved to Holly Springs, bought this house, and moved in here with his family, his wife, and his son. Paul McLeod was a bit of an Elvis fan, just a little bit. What you're seeing in this house is only, I'm going to say, maybe 20% of what he had in here at one time. I can't say too much without ruining the story, but a lot of auctions, a lot of this stuff is gone. Me and a few other people in town and other locals banded together just try to save as much of the stuff, what we call the outsider artwork, the shrine picture, the poster, things that he made himself. But Paul created this as a museum, a living museum that he would open to the public 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days in the year. Every single day, you could come here and knock on the door and come in, pay your $5. He would take you on a tour of the house. We have two desks here very quickly between each other. We also know at least two of the people who have died in this house, and rumors of at least a third or fourth who might possibly still be buried somewhere under the house. We think she's saying, and it makes perfect sense, good times, I suppose. She's basically telling us, in her way, look, I've lived here for many years. People came in and out of the house. I guess we're having good times. There's more people here. We think this is directed right at us. The last one was in the same room. It's the exact same voice. Our technology tells us that this is the exact same voice you heard there. So little hard to hear, but it's a laugh. This is a laugh. This is the same voice laughing.
There's a lot of paranormal activity here, and they just played us in this very room that we're in right now.
This room, just for those of you still in here, this picture right here is what he would say is his future ghost. He said it's a vapor outside the house. He said this was going to be his future ghost. So he actually said he was retroactively haunting the house.
Well, that's interesting. Man, I can't see anything. It's like a haunted house, for real. Okay. Wow. You okay there?
Yeah, that wasn't me.